We are meeting Jerusalem Jane, here just in Jerusalem. Who is Jane and who is Jerusalem Jane?
Jane is a small town Danish girl who grew up in a Christian family, who had grandparents who prayed for Israel every day. They never made it to Israel, but they passed that love on to my mother. So she has been the leader of a prayer group for Israel for 20 years, more than 20 years. And she told me about Israel, and growing up in a Christian house, I was reading the Bible and hearing about Israel. But when I started to watch the news as a grown-up, Israel was always in the news as a bad guy, and Israel has done this and this. And I was like, I gotta go to Israel to see for myself. Why is the Bible saying this and the media is saying this? And as someone who loves Jesus and who loves the God of Israel, coming to Israel is like coming home. So I fell in love. I felt a connection coming to Israel I can't explain. So I started going back to Israel and going back, and I met people, Jewish people, saying, why are you coming to Israel? And are you not afraid to come to Israel? And I was thinking, why are they saying that? This is the Holy Land. Long story short, I kept coming back. I met a mother whose girl was blown to pieces by a suicide terrorist. Listening to her story, and I went up and I took her hand and I said, thank you for telling your story. And she said, what did my daughter do to deserve to die like that? Like she was expecting me to answer that. And you know, my heart just broke into a million pieces. And I felt God was speaking, saying, someone needs to stand with Israel. Someone needs to tell the truth. And it's a long story, but Yasser Arafat came to Denmark many years ago as an official guest in the Danish parliament. So my mother and I traveled by train for 6 hours to go to the Danish parliament, and we were standing with two big Israeli flags, standing for Israel, showing to Arafat that someone in Denmark loves Israel. And the whole atmosphere when Yasser Arafat was approaching was so evil. And the sky turned black and it started pouring down in rain. And what we have to remember when it comes to Israel, it's a spiritual fight. It's a spiritual fight. It's a fight against God, against Satan, against good, against evil. And you felt it that day. And I think God called my mom and I to do that, to let me have that understanding and to let me feel that evil. That the same evil that has come against the Jewish, all people down to history, is still alive today. And I felt God said, would you go to Israel and stand with my people? So I left everything in Denmark. 2010, God spoke and said, it's a long story, but you know, God said it's now, would you go and stand with Israel? So I left everything and I came here.
How did you get your nickname, Jerusalem Jane?
That's interesting. You know what, I have been trying to do my little piece journalist work. I only have a little phone. And I started making videos because people said, Jane, you're in Israel. I wish I could be in Israel, but I can't be in Israel. Can you show me Israel? So I started making videos around Israel on the Temple Mount and started posting these photos. And then I met a man from Florida who has a Christian organization standing for Israel, and he has a radio program. And I met him, and we drove all over Judea and Samaria one day. And he went for America, and he said, your boots on the ground. Would you report on our radio show what's happening in Israel? So I did that for a long time. And one day, live on the air, they are saying to me, hey, your name is Jane, and you live in Jerusalem. We got something, Jerusalem Jane. So I didn't pick that name, but it catched on, and people started calling me Jerusalem Jane, and now I can take the train or walk down the street, and Jewish people are saying, hey, it's Jerusalem Jane.
It's a ministry what you're doing. You have a backup from your church in Denmark or not?
I'm not sent here by anyone, and I don't call it a ministry. I say I moved here. I relocated. I'm not Jewish, so I can't say I live here for the rest of my life. I wish I could. I knew and felt in my heart that God said go. And I didn't say, okay, I'm on a ministry, you need to support me, because I just knew God said go. I had a love for Israel, and I felt like I don't need to just talk about it. I need to put action behind my words. So I left, I went here. And for a long time, I just, like I said, I started slowly. I spent many hours in a prayer tower. We have several prayer towers. I found a good church here. And for the first long time I was in Israel, I was on my face, many hours, praying, saying, God, why did you bring me here? What's the purpose of my life? How am I supposed to help the Jewish people? And while I did that, I started paying attention again to the media and how biased they are against Israel. So I was like, someone needs to tell the truth. So in 2011, Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the Palestinians, went in front of the United Nations and he said, we want Palestine recognized as a state. We don't care about the peace negotiation. And at that time, God spoke very clearly again to me, this is why I brought you here. Would you be that voice for Israel? And I said, yes, but how? And that time, Facebook was pretty new. So I really said, that's how you reach the world. You go in the media. So I made a page on Facebook called Israel One Nation. And God even gave me that name. And he said, I made a covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It is not a two-state solution. Palestine is a man-made idea. This is the Jewish nation. So I made a page on Facebook called Israel One Nation. And I just reached 24,500 people following my little page because people want to hear the truth. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm sharing news on that side every day. And people from all over the world are saying, Jane, you're boots on the ground. I wish I could do what you're doing. So if I want to know what's happening in Israel, I go to your page and I follow you. So. Hi, this is Jerusalem Jane. I am at the Temple Mount, the holiest of the holiest place. Right over here is the gate where the King of Kings, according to the Christian, is going to come back. That's a holy place for the Christians. Right up here is where the first and the second temple was. But who's in control of this place? The Muslims. You would think that when they want this place, it's because it's holy for them. They could not care less. Look where I'm standing, in the midst of a filthy dump with garbage, with toilet seats. It's so disrespectful, it's so disgusting. This is a holy place for the Jewish people. This is a holy place for the Christians. And the Muslims are filling this place with toilet seats. Come on.
Can you tell me some incidents you have experienced?
Oh, I have so many. I can say the one we just had, one of my friends from Denmark came and he said, you want to go to Gaza? It was 10 o'clock at night. And I said, let's go. So we drove to the border to Gaza. I don't even like to call it the border because Gaza is a part of Israel. It's all Israel. But we are driving there and we arrived after midnight. And we drive up and there's this Israeli military jeep with soldiers. And they're looking like, who's coming here? It's after midnight. And so they say, who are you and what are you doing? So we said, we're Danish, we're here because we love Israel. And we got out of the car and they said, why? Nobody loves us. And he was talking about the soldiers and then about Israel. And it breaks my heart. I meet Jewish people every day who says nobody loves us. And so I got right there, I said to him, you know what? I love you so much that I gave up everything I had in Denmark to come here and to love you and to comfort you and to share in the media the truth about Israel. And this young soldier, he actually became quiet. He got a little bit emotional. And he said, but I didn't think anyone loved us. And I have this experience all the time. So we go up and we're overlooking Gaza. And all of a sudden we hear all these people talking around us. And we had all these IDF soldiers in camouflage. You need to step on them to even see them. And of course they're watching the border. But God is giving me divine appointments all the time to meet the Jewish people, to comfort them. God is saying, comfort my people. And that's a commandment. It's not something just for fun. It's a commandment that God is giving us to love the Jewish people. And I meet that every day on the bus, on the train. And one day I met a young soldier. I didn't know he was 18. And he says, what are you doing here? And I said, I'm here because I love you. And I told him about what I'm doing. And this young boy, 17 years old, he said, normally I don't get emotional, but I got goosebumps and I feel like I'm crying. My grandfather was in the army, my father was in the army in a special combat unit. I can't wait until I turn 18 because, I want to go serve my army. And as Christians, we are crafted into this nation. We would not have a faith if it wasn't for this nation, if it wasn't for the Bible. Jesus was a Jewish rabbi. So I think that's one of the reasons why God sent me here, to share love with the Jewish people and to encourage the Christians in, we need to wake up and we need to stand with Israel because there's so much lies and hate and propaganda coming against Israel. And one day, God every morning I say, God, where do you want me to go today? Who do you want me to meet today? So I actually went down by Damascus gates and there are 1,000 young Arabs waving Palestinian flags because some of the books they were using in their school that says Jews are ape and monkeys and pigs, and if you have 10 Jews and you kill 5, that kind of thing. So I'm standing there as the only pro-Israel person amongst 1,000 screaming hate to Israel with my little phone making videos, trying to, and God just keep bringing me into places. I went on the Mount of Olives one day where Arabs had stoned the police on the Temple Mount. And Al Jazeera is up there reporting how the Jewish people on the Temple Mount attacked the police. A flat out lie. I go to the Temple Mount.
They don't like you there at all, eh?
They don't really like me. Listen, we have to understand the center of the world is Israel. In Israel it's Jerusalem, in Jerusalem it's the Temple Mount. Why? Because this is God's mountain. God put his name down on the Temple Mount. This is where Jesus is going to come back and put his temple. This is where Jesus went and preached. This is God's holy hill. And that's why the intensity about that place is so extreme. So I started going to the Temple Mount just to see for myself. And I saw the horrible, horrible harassment of the Jewish people. When they go to the Temple Mount, they need police protection. The Arabs are spitting at them, they're cursing them. It's despicable behavior. And I started making videos about that.
You see all the Arabs here? You see all the Arabs screaming here? It's because we got Jews here. We got Jews under protection over here. And you see all the Arabs coming? Now I have Arabs behind me. This is what's going on the Temple Mount right now. Jewish people are on the Temple Mount. And see all the Arabs coming behind me now. I have a lot of Arabs coming behind me screaming at the Jews.
And sharing it, and not just filming it, but I spoke out and I said, this is the holiest place for the Jewish people. This is where they should be allowed to be, and this is how the Arabs are treating them. So for that reason, I was actually being followed by the Arabs. They followed me around, they took my photos, they threatened me. I have had several death threats because I'm speaking up for Israel and speaking up for that holy place. And several times now when they forced me off the Temple Mount, there was an Arab news site who actually wrote a big article calling me a Jewish settler. I'm a spy for the Jewish people. I tried to storm the mosque. And then I did what was really bad. I was with a TV crew on the Temple Mount and I was singing the Shema Israel, the blessing over Israel. And if you look at the dome of the rock, there is a face of Satan on one of the marbles. And we were filming that face while I'm singing the Shema Israel. And that was the ultimate bad thing for the Arabs because they wrote this article about me. And they posted the video of me singing the Shema, and more than 120,000 Muslims saw that video. Death to Jane, go kill her, wherever you find her, Allah is going to take her. So me standing up for Israel, standing up for the God of Israel, that is the foundation of my life, has changed my life here into, with death threats and intimidations and everything. So my life has changed a little bit, and the last time I went to the Temple Mount, I was forced off again, being told that I am on their watch list and I'm not officially allowed on the Temple Mount anymore.
And do you get any protection? Yes.
I got the ultimate protection.
How do you experience that?
God guides me. I'm not some stupid person who came here to make problems. I came here to love Israel and to share the truth. Every time I have been on the Temple Mount, God has been speaking to me in advance that it's time, you're going to be going back soon. And then I have known, okay, I have told people and said, I'm going back to the Temple Mount soon. I'm starting to pray. And then God has spoken and said, on that day you need to go. So I say, if you want me to go to the Temple Mount tomorrow, I'm not going to put an alarm clock. You wake me. And then I know that this is the day that the Lord has made. You want me to go. And then God has woken me, and I'm up early during the night, I'm praying, and then I have gone to the Temple Mount. But I'm not going to cause problem. I'm not here to cause any problems, but I'm not a coward too. I didn't come here to be a coward. I came to stand with Israel. And apparently, if you stand with Israel, it has consequences, it has a price. Because the enemy of the God of Israel don't like you when you stand for Israel. So it's not like I have a bodyguard. Some people are saying, do you have bodyguards and you can't go back and you can't go to Damascus Gate? I value people's opinion, but I base my life on what God is telling me to do. That is the most important thing. And I need to every day, say, God, protect me. And I want to be in the center of your will for my life. Otherwise, it's too dangerous for me to do what I'm doing there. I have to be in the center of his will every day. So when God says go, I go. If it's not time to go, I don't go. So I'm not stupid. I use my brain, in what to do and not to do. But now I know that I'm on some kind of a watch list for the Arabs. And, I'm not going to go back alone to the Temple Mount. I'm going to go with friends. I'm not going to go to Gaza, Ramallah, because they know me. But at the same time, if God has a task for me, I will do that. And then I trust, God, you sent me to do this. You protect me.
How do you handle your emotions? And are you not going depressed sometimes? That you say, oh, wow, again.
It's not always easy.
No.
It's not always easy. And God brought me here as a single female. I'm praying for a good, strong, godly husband who can stand with me in this. And I think I'm going to have it. But when you come here doing what I'm doing, God is placing the most wonderful people around me. God has given me an extra mom here. God has given me an extra dad. I cannot do this alone. I'm just one person. So of course, sometimes my emotions are up and down. And when I get these death threats and these things are coming, I'm going to take a deep breath and say, God, I give it to you. But God didn't give the spirit of fear. We know who's giving the spirit of fear. And I have to go against it. So I say, God, you brought me here, you protect me, and now people kept telling me, are you afraid? If I was afraid, I couldn't do what I'm doing. And that's what the Arabs on the Temple Mount have found out. Oh my God, we're threatening her, but she keeps coming back. So no, I'm not afraid to go to the Temple Mount, because then I wouldn't do it. When war comes to this country and people are going to run for shelter, I'm going to run out to report. That's why God brought me here. So yes, I have some kind of a courage that I can only say, thank you, God. You called me to do this task, and you're equipping me to do this task.
Yeah, just great. And you're back home in Denmark. Your family, how do they think about it?
Like I said, my mom loves Israel. She has been the big supporter of Israel. She's going to come visit soon. What I'm doing is special. I mean, not everybody is called to do what I'm doing. It's special. I'm kind of living outside the box. And some people love it and support it. And some people are like, we don't really understand what you're doing, but we can see this is what God wants you to do, so we bless it. And some people are not so happy. I think it's going to be like that with everybody.
Are there also Arab people, Israeli Arab people, who like you?
I haven't met anyone.
Not yet?
Not yet. Not that I know about. I actually lived in Beit Jala for 5 weeks, which it's an Arab city outside Jerusalem. I have a lot. I want to say I have a
How's
lot.
that possible? You live in an area
Yeah.
safe?
I had to leave because it became not so safe. That was before I became Jerusalem Jane and things really kind of picked up for me. I want to say I came here to Israel when God said go. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to live. I didn't know what to do here, but God said go. And it has been a long way. I mean, I have slept on the floor when there was no bed. I have moved so many times you won't even believe. I have been hauling luggage over Israel and over Jerusalem for years. It has been a long struggle. This is not easy for me. It hasn't been easy. And at one time where I was like, tomorrow morning at 8, I don't have anywhere to live. I didn't know where to go. And God connected me with one Christian Arab woman actually in Bajala. And I went for 5 weeks to live in her house. And I think God brought me there to see the pro-Palestinian, I crossed the checkpoint. And when you enter Bajala, there's a sign saying, no Jews are allowed. It's the risk for your own life. If you want to talk about apartheid, it's not about Israel. Arabs can live all over Israel, but Jews, if they enter an Arab city, they risk their life. You can talk about apartheid. I think God brought me there to see all of these things. It was welcome to Palestine. I was told you can't even use the word Israel. You can't wear a Star of David. It's not safe for you. Boycott Israel, free Palestine. So I stayed for 5 weeks. I think God, He brought me there to experience all of these things.
How do you see the future for Israel?
Well, I know the Bible, so things are unfortunately not going to be better. I mean, war is going to come to this country. There's no question. If you see what happened around the world, how ISIS is moving forward, how everything is, the evil is getting really evil in the world. So I think war is going to come to this country. The good thing is, though, that I think Israel is going to be the safest place to be. I'm so grateful that God brought me here. Look what's happening in Europe now. I'm so grateful that God brought me here. And this nation survived one Holocaust. There's not going to be another Holocaust. God has given the best intelligence is here in Israel. The best army in the world is the IDF. And God is going to protect Israel. I still think war is going to come. And people are going to die. And it's going to be awful. And we need to pray for Israel. And every single Christian has to stand up. But God is still going to be faithful. And look at history. Look at all the wars that has been here. Israel has won every single war since Israel was reborn. It has been absolutely impossible. Israel was outnumbered. I mean, people came out from the Holocaust to walk straight into battle in 48. They won. It was not possible. So God is going to be faithful to Israel. But it's still going to be, war is a horrible thing. People are going to die. So if I can just say to the Christians, wake up. Wake up and stand with Israel. Wake up and pray. Because even I have a lot of people saying, we know God is in control, and we know, yes, but you still need to act. As long as we are here, we still need to get involved. You still need to act. You need to stand with Israel. And so many people are saying, we love Israel, I pray for Israel, and that's fine. But if a parent says, I love your kid, that's fine, but put action, If a mother doesn't show love, it doesn't mean anything. So I want to say to Christians, if you say you love Israel, show your love. Do something. Did you come to Israel? Did you bless Israel financially? Just love is cheap. Talk is cheap. Put action behind your words. And especially the Jewish people are being killed here in Jerusalem. We just had this huge knife intifada. It's not over yet. The Jewish people are still being killed in their own country today. So as much as we're sitting here now, as Shabbat is coming, it's beautiful. The Jewish people are still paying a price for just being the Jews. And we need to wake up and stand with them. They are looking, saying, where are our friends? Who can we count on? We got an entire billion Muslims who hate us. If the Jews can't count on the Christians, who can they count on? And especially, God keeps telling me, Jane, for such a time as this, has I called you here? Have I brought you here? And He's even given me a journalist visa now. I got a press pass. I can do my job even better. So just to answer your questions, war is going to come here. There's no question. There's no question. God is faithful, but we are still responsible to pray for Israel, to stand for Israel, to come here, to bless financially. And a lot of people are saying, I can't afford to go to Israel. And I want to encourage people today, if I can. And just say, you know what? Sow a seed. Sow a seed. If you say, I can't go to Israel, what are you doing about it? Don't just pray, because when we pray, that's actually asking God to do something. That's not you doing something. So a lot of people are saying, oh, I'm praying for Israel. That's fine. But you're asking God to do something. So you need to do something yourself. So when you pray for Israel, God is saying, okay, now you told me to do something. What are you going to do about it? So people need to get involved. So if it's too, I know it's expensive to travel to Israel. I just want to encourage people, take some money and sow into Israel. There are many of organizations here, or people like me, who are blessing to Israel. Sow a seed and you will reap a harvest. It's like a farmer. You don't get a crop if you don't put seeds in the ground. So, you know, if you want to be blessed, bless Israel. God is saying, if you bless Israel, I will bless you back. So stand with Israel, sow a seed and come here. And I will meet you when you come.
And how can people sponsor you?
I made a webpage called Jerusalem Jane. It's very simple, www.jerusalemjane.com. And in the upper right corner, there's a donate link. It's a PayPal account, and it goes straight to me, so it's very easy. And if people want to follow, you can find links. I have a blog on Jerusalem Post. I write for Jerusalem Post, so you can find links on that webpage. If you're on Facebook, even my mom, my dear old mom, got on Facebook. So look up Israel One Nation. That's me. That's where I share videos, scriptures, photos, you know, and all the news about what's going on in Israel, and that's where you can find me.
May I thank you very much for this interview.
Thank
and
you.
God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you for doing this.
Thank you.